You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa! What up, everybody? It's your boy, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders Undercover Capes. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. And today we have an awesome guest. I mean, he's a producer, writer, actor. He's one of the baddest men in the planet. When I say bad, I mean, he's been voted actually like one of the best movie villains ever because he's just always a villain. We need to know why. What makes him such a bad guy? Let me introduce the one and only, the amazing Jasper Cole. What up?
Hey, Al. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. Yourself, brother? How you doing?
Wow, that was quite an introduction.
I mean, you're the boss, bro. You're the main man, bro. I love your career, man. You've done awesome stuff from, MacGruber. You've actually been married with children. I was like, oh, shit, you've been there. You know what I mean? Baywatch, Friday the 13th, Alien Nation, some of my favorite stuff. You doing Family Business right there on BET. Another badass. You got some films coming out. You have over 100 film credits to your name. Like, bro, you've been doing a lot of stuff. You're a busy man.
Which means I'm old as hell. Is that what you're saying?
or you just keep yourself ultimately very busy, man. Which is a great thing.
I've been very blessed, and in my career, I came to LA. I came to Hollywood thinking I was going to be this comedian, this sitcom person, right? And comedy was what I love to do. I still love comedy, but I often say people, you just have to. You don't know where this crazy career is going to take you. The fact that I'd be playing all these villains and bad guys is something I never saw coming, but getting typecast has been a big blessing for me. It's been good.
So talk about that. Where are you originally from?
Well, I'm originally from Georgia, and the accent today is stronger because I have this horrible cold. But yeah, I grew up in Georgia, a college town called Athens, University of Georgia. Go Dogs, Bulldogs. And I went to Atlanta after high school, went there, studied theater, and I co-wrote and co-starred in a play, a comedy, a stupid, silly ass comedy. And it got produced in Atlanta, and then it got produced out. It was brought to Los Angeles in 1987. I know. I thought this is how, this is how things happen. And so we brought it out here in 1987. First day in LA was the Whittier earthquake in 1987. Wow. I thought, dude, not a good sign. I better get the hell out of here. But anyway, it was the beginning of my career, and I stayed. And Al, it's just been a series of just staying in the game, and just always trying to be present and saying yes to opportunities that come. And I think what happens is, you just stay in the game, and the casting directors get to know you. But around age 40, I had to sort of reinvent myself. Okay. The whole bad guy thing happened. First of all, my face changed. I changed the way I looked, and it just happened. And I thought, fuck.
So did you do that look purposeful change?
Well, what happened was, up until 40, I was sort of the boyish best friend, sidekick, whatever. I wasn't really Hollywood leading guy, and I wasn't really character. So, but when the face kind of changed and I got my first bad guy role, I thought, you know what, I'm going to lean into this. So I grew the hair out, I grew the beard, and then it just worked, because a lot of it starts with a look, and that's been sort of my calling card. Is like Danny Trejo is a real spirit animal of mine, and even though we really are nothing alike, right? I mean, he has a whole different experience. I can't tell you how many times people have actually thought I was Danny.
Oh, it's too funny.
And I now just go with it. I just go, hey, thank you, man. But if you look at Danny's had that same look for his whole career.
But he also went through that journey where he had to kind of change, later in life.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly. Our earlier experiences were very different, but I think career-wise, I do watch his career, and I really admire what he's been able to do. But yeah, you know, I've been able to, even in comedies, like I'm in comedies, but I'm still usually the bad guy. I'm not the funny guy.
I want to ask though, what led to your whole interest in wanting to lead towards this path? You know, because you said in high school you do theater. I mean, what did you love movies? What attracted you?
Well, it's funny because actually I'm the youngest of 4 boys, and so we were into sports and football. You know, doing theater wasn't very cool. Like, I mean, in my mind, I guess. So I really
back
did.
then, I know how people were.
You know what I mean? I didn't really do it in high school, but as soon as high school was over, when I moved to Atlanta, yeah, theater became my thing, and but really, I was always a TV junkie as a kid growing up. Pop culture, TV. I have a feeling you're like that. You know, my head is full of so much pop culture bullshit that
I hear you.
I may not know about certain important things, but I can tell you all about Chico and the Man.
Oh, I hear you on that because my wife always wonders like, why do you know so much useless shit? I said one day will be a trivia show, and it won't be very useless.
That's how I am. So I love television. I really love TV, but I also, and the weird thing, my brothers would take me to see like the Billy Jack movies.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I'm aging myself, but you know, so and I loved horror movies too growing up. I watched all the horror films, never thinking I'd be doing them one day. But so yeah, I've always been
interesting. Yeah,
right. You just never know. Tell God your plans, right? But yeah, I tell young actors all the time now because I'm like the old guy on the set, and they'll ask me like, you know, what do you do? And again, like I just say, you don't think you know what's going to happen, but just keep yourself in the game, because I think what happens with a lot of people, they give up, they take themselves out of the game, and then they try to come back in. And it's really difficult. You know, the business changes so fast that you want to keep your face out there, and so they don't forget about you.
Well, so what's the easiest way to do that, though?
Well, it's interesting. You know, I tell kids today, God, I mean, look, when I was coming up, we didn't have YouTube and all the different social media outlets and all the platforms.
we had paper, a printer and paper, right?
We had Pac-Man and paper. But yeah, I mean, so today, you know, people can shoot their own stuff and put it out there, and you don't have to live in New York or Hollywood. You can live pretty much anywhere. But I'm a big proponent of PR and public relations, and you kind of have to tell people how they need to see you. You know, we have the opportunity with all these platforms now to sort of brand ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, I'd like to think you need some talent to back it up, but once you have the talent, I mean, because once the door opens, you got to be able to produce when you get in the room. Although right now, no one's going in any rooms anymore. Everything is self-tape, which I love. I love doing the self-tapes.
How different is that for you now? You know, in this navigation, because you know, with the family business, you know, how is that going? You know, because you were obviously filming this pre and then during, no, and whatnot.
Yeah, well, yeah, family business was right. I did a movie called The Fall, like right before this.
Oh,
that was my first pandemic filming. That'll come out later next year. But family
with
business,
JDM, nice one.
yeah. Family business though, they kept an amazing tight set. We were quarantined. We stayed in a condominium complex. You couldn't get outside the bubble. You know, you had to stay in the bubble, and you had to get tested over and over again. But you know, family business was another example of I actually know the producers.
Okay.
Indy Brown, I know Trey Haley. So that's just an example where I knew them. They offered me the part. We got to work together.
That's how it was. Yeah, because I was curious, you know. So here you're doing films and whatnot. His family business on BET, and here's Jasper Cole. You know, again, one of the craziest villains in Hollywood right now. Crazy hot villains. You know, how did you get this? It's great. Did you try it out?
But I have to audition. Like today, okay. I just got an audition. Just came in for NCIS Hawaii. So, like for people watching, so when I finish this, I got to learn the lines. I got to go in the other room, set up the screen, you know, and do the self-tape and send it in. But even before pandemic, we had started the self-taping had started where we weren't going in the room as much. And so again, I moved out to Palm Springs, which is 100 miles from LA. And it allows me not to have to be in LA, although I just ended up getting another apartment there, but that's a whole other story. My point is, you know, it frees us up not having to drive in and go into the audition rooms. So,
Gotcha.
but I booked the Rookie. The Rookie was self-tape. The Fall was self-tape. I've been fortunate to book off self-tape.
So are you really doing this by yourself? You have anyone in the crib helping you, assisting you, or this really a one-man show?
Well, sometimes it's a one-man show. I have a friend who helps me, you know, run the camera and read the lines.
Okay.
But I've been on locations where it's me in the hotel room with the iPhone, propping it up on, you know, trying to prop it up on a pillow and use it because I didn't bring the tripod kind of thing. But
don't you love it when you forget the silliest of tools?
well, I'm like, who the fuck wants to drag a tripod through the, you know, security at the airport? So, but there is a thing about the moment you leave town, you're either going to get an audition or get a job offer that you can't do, right? That's what happens.
Yep. This is what I recommend, my friend. Look how small this is, brother. Handheld, really small. My wife misjudged this the way it came. Like this. I was like, no, babe, I swear to God, look at the tripod, you know.
Well, wow, that could be interesting. That's a whole other video.
That's a whole other. That's Comic Crusaders After Dark, folks.
After Dark, yes.
Yeah. That's what Blind Adam, the comic pimp. That's right up his alley.
Vivid Entertainment presents Tripod. Yeah.
Ooh, hey, don't give him no ideas right now. Hey, we got to copyright that right now.
Right.
Well, you're awesome. So I want to go back to the comedy thing because you say that you know your first love is comedy. Now, is it comedy writing or comedy as in you want to be stand-up comedian?
Well, I did. I actually try. I would recommend all performers do stand-up a couple of times because I mean, I tried stand-up in Atlanta before I moved here. But I really wanted to do sitcoms, the old-fashioned 3 and 4 camera, you know, sitcoms. Because coming from theater, it's a little bit of the best of both worlds. You have used to have a live audience, and then you have the camera, so it was a little bit of the both. But yeah, I have a podcast as well, one-on-one with Jasper Cole, that I'm in my 10th year, and the reason you know, well, thank you. The reason I started that was just to show people my real personality. You can kind of tell, you know, I'm pretty sarcastic and fun. I mean, I'm not the weird bad guy.
It's like you're an adopted New Yorker, but you know, from Georgia.
Yeah. So I'm kind of caustic. I always like, you know, Andrew Dice Clay and Joan Rivers and Sarah Silverman. I like those comedians that really push right up to the edge. So I'm now producing comedy TV shows and stuff, and I get to write and bring that into it. But yeah, I mean, like, there's so many great comedies. I mean, all the streamers right now, Ted Lasso, you know, all these great Schitt's Creek. Well, that's the kind of comedy.
My team is so in love with Ted Lasso, and this season they're going through a whole bunch of emotions. Up until I haven't heard about the last episode how they felt it, but by episode 11, they're like, "I don't care. This guy gets a beating."
Right. I'm not there. I've heard about it. I'm not there yet, but yeah. So that's sort of. But you know, again, if I get cast in a comedy now, I'm usually like when I did Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I was the Oolong Slayer.
Yeah, the Oolong Slayer. Yeah, hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, but again, you know, the jokes are the other guys are doing the funny stuff. I'm just there to be the straight man.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But the Oolong Slayer, what a name! I love it. Let me see. I want to ask you something here, though, because again, you're talking about the horror, because you done Tales from the Crypt, right? Like I said, you know, you've been Friday the 13th. And you have some other stuff coming out. What is it? A Savage Sister, Spirits. I mean, is this your joint? Horror is your joint? What's popping here?
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, I've been blessed to sort of have this. I do the TV stuff, and then I've been blessed to play these in these horror films as well, which is great. I mean, Hansel and Gretel is one of my favorite. The Purge,
Ooh.
and The
Oh,
Purge
yes, yes.
Anarchy. Got to work with the Jason Blumhouse and Blum at Blumhouse, and yeah, I mean, I've sort of been in the studio horror films, and then I've been in. Look, I just go where the work is. I don't have any judgment. Lower budget. I think I love the grindhouse, art house kind of horror work. That kind of.
That's what we grew up on. This is why people didn't understand. I get you. When you're talking about the comedy and your focus sitcoms, I mean, we grew up on awesome sitcoms. So yeah, that's the direction you want to go. And awesome comedians, of course, but great sitcoms.
Some of the best horror films are really funny, right? I mean,
they are.
They're campy. Even the Scream movies. Kevin Williamson, he gets in the funny parts of horror. So, but yeah, so you're right. I just realized in the moment, I guess even in the horror films, I'm getting to do some of the comedy. Plus, even in the bad guy roles I do, I bring, I don't know, I'm sort of my voice is kind of the nice guy. So even when I'm playing the bad guys, I think they're somewhat likable a little bit. I'm not, I may look like the on the page horror guy, bad guy, but I bring a little bit of likability, I hope. I don't know.
No, man, definitely. What do you mean you don't know? You've been blessed with a long career, so you're absolutely killing it, my brother.
Yeah, but actors, we don't see, we can't see ourselves.
I get it. I get it. I like when people tell me thank you for things that when I help them through, sometimes I feel like for why? I just feel it's a natural thing to do. I'm not doing nothing special. You know what I mean? I feel you on that. I feel you on that energy. That's great stuff.
It's called a humble brag. Hashtag humble brag.
Let's see. And how is it working with Ernie Hudson too in the family business, man? Because my man's a legend, son.
I'm telling you, that dude is so cool and so smooth. And what's great when you get to work with these icons, these veterans, it's just like a masterclass in acting. Not even so much with the work, but watching them when we're not shooting, watching them in between, off camera, watching them how they deal with the crew, how they deal with the other actors, just chill and really, this is something I learned too when I came to Hollywood. These big stars, they're just like everybody else. The few assholes, honestly, that I've met along the way are one, they don't usually stick around. They don't have longevity, and they're just insecure. That's really insecure folks. I mean, look, to get in this business, we're all a little insecure, right? We're all trying to get some praise.
We're putting ourselves out there. You're putting a piece of yourself out there,
right?
So it's scary.
Yeah, exactly. But so much of what we do in this business is collaboration. Look, actors I wish actors could understand in the scheme of the set. We are just one little piece in the wheel. I mean, the real workers are the teamsters lugging these heavy ass cables, and the guys doing the grunt work, and everyone's there together. And Ernie, back to your point, number one on the call sheet, sets the tone of a set, and Ernie definitely does that. I mean, and he can do Ghostbusters. He can do the comedy. He can do the drama. In the family business, he is a badass MFer. That is the patriarch of this family, and by day they have this exotic car company in New York, but at night they run this underground drug cartel family. And my character CORY BLACK comes in this season. He's head of a Pittsburgh biker gang who is part of the drug company. He's infiltrating with the Duncan family, and so I'm you'll see in this new season.
Villainous villain is what I kind of am reading already.
Yeah, there's a new drug on the scene that we're introducing, and there's like a feud between which drug are we gonna stick with, the new one or the old one, and I mean we're hoping for a season 4 pickup, and like I said, October 14th, all 10 episodes are. 10 or 12, sorry. I think 10 episodes drop next Thursday. This Thursday. This Thursday.
Wepa, everybody get excited. You're going to see, and I like the name too, CORY BLACK. It sounds like a badass MF too.
Here's the funny thing: I can't drive a motorcycle either.
Oh,
But so far I haven't had to drive one. But
nice.
in
It's
other
coming.
other jobs I've had, I've ridden in on a motorcycle and I've driven it out of the shot. But don't expect me to like drive it. You know,
Gotcha. Okay, a straight line, sure, folks, right?
right into the wall.
But don't play around, shit. 'Cause I don't know how to ride either. I want to. I want to learn. But you know, hey, you know,
Do you remember
wifey.
Sons of Anarchy, the series that
Oh
was
yeah.
on? I must have I auditioned for that show probably 20 times.
Whoa.
Wendy O'Brien, God bless the casting director, she kept bringing me in and in, and I would say 15 of those roles, you had to have your motorcycle license. You had to be able to, you know, ride a
Ah.
motorcycle. So, but I never did it. I gotta get. Actually, I keep saying I'm going to get the license.
Do
It
it.
can't be
Get
that
it.
difficult, right?
Nah, not. I seen here in Orlando. We have a Harley store not too far, and I
Right.
seen them actually doing a class, and it looks pretty cool, simple. You know,
Yeah, I
homie
need to do.
teaching you. You know,
I
and
need
then
to
you
do
jump on
that.
that Harley. Hell yeah, kid! Come on, man. We want to see Jasper Cole on that Harley for real. When he comes in as Cory Black, it's gonna be nuts.
But they have 3-wheelers, don't they?
Oh yes, they do. Hey, why not? Oh, you gotta see my next door neighbor. He has a nice little 3-wheeler, like a low drop. It looks like an old school racing car body. Fantastic looking.
That's what Jasper, old 57-year-old Jasper needs a 3-wheeler Harley for
A
sure.
nice. Yeah, I could use the old school. I'll use the old school 3-wheelers. You know what I mean? Why
Yeah.
not, bro? I'm digging it. They have adult size ones. Why not? I'd get one.
Yeah.
I'd
You
get
look
one.
like a bad guy yourself. You could rock it.
I've been told that, especially while I was growing up, that that I would be good for villainy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, why not, bro?
We could be brothers.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. I'm gonna
I'll,
call you
I'll be Al Black. Cory Black, Puerto Rican brother from another mother.
Al Black.
Bro, so let me ask you, were you ever a comic book fan?
You know, I actually wasn't, but
No.
truth told, yeah, I really wasn't. But I don't know how that skipped. You know what it is? None of my brothers. You know, when you have brothers, you do everything your brothers do.
Okay.
So my brothers weren't, and I'm sure if they had been, I would have been. But in my growing up in my house, we weren't the big. I followed more the Marvel comics and stuff
Okay.
now. You know, more as an adult. But are you a big comic book fan?
Always. As a kid, Mama bought me my first comic when I was about 6, 7 years old, around there, and it's been a love affair ever since.
Yeah, I kind of regret that I didn't have that. I have a fear of missing out on that one.
See, my
FOMO.
brothers, I have 2 younger brothers, so it's like you say, without having the brother, because I influenced them in the horror and in the comics and in fashion. So one of my middle brother does horror makeup, and he's an actor. Always
Oh.
wants to be a bad guy himself. So he's an independent actor out of New York and cosplayer, and he does his own makeup and all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
Very funny enough, he goes by Daniel Black.
I was going to ask you what his name was.
Yeah, so look him up on Facebook, Daniel Black. That's my brother.
I'll start following him. I love that. Good for him.
Yeah, and then my other brother, it goes by Chris Crash, and he's a big comic book toy guy and fashionista too. So
Wow.
having that influence, I know what you mean. So we're all big comic guys. We're big geeks on that. And because I wanted to ask you that if you ever had the opportunity to, do a comic book villain,
Well,
it's funny. What you got?
Oh no, sorry. I get to go to Comic-Con in San Diego. They have a place upstairs where they have actors who do signings. Because of MacGruber really kind of got a cult following. You know, MacGruber didn't do great when it first came out, but it's over the last 10 years it's gotten this
and I hope you're getting a piece of that, man.
A little bit,
Hey, good.
You never know. Like the funny thing about residuals, I always tell people it's like Christmas Day, right? I used to call it mailbox money because we used to have to get checks in the mail. Now everything is direct deposited. So you'll look online, it'll be like 32 cents. I'm like 59. But then every now and then you open your email and it's like, oh wow,
damn.
It's Merry Christmas. But yeah, so MacGruber has kind of gotten a cult following. So last 2 years they didn't have Comic-Con, but I usually go Purge, Anarchy, a lot of the horror films. Horror fans are the best. They really follow us, and they'll remember. Here's the other thing about getting older. It's not that I don't remember doing jobs back in the early part of my career, but I don't think I was present a lot of the time. I was always like trying to be on to the next gig, that I just didn't enjoy the moment. And so I tell people, try to like stay when you're on this journey.
Yep.
Enjoy the moments, dude. Cause this whole thing about when I make it bullshit, you're kind of making it the whole time. You don't realize it.
Yeah.
There is no when you make it. Even if you think you've made it here, then you got to set the next goal. And this business is like this. I've seen people make millions, lose millions,
Oof.
the whole bit. So I always say, live way below your means, save your money, and just try to enjoy the work
And get some good PR people too, huh? As well. I would say no.
Get a good therapist and a good publicist. Young actors are always, we think we got to get agents, right? And I was thinking, no, you better get a therapist first. And it can't be your agent, it can't be your friends. Nobody wants to hear you complain all the time. It's somebody that your insurance or you're paying for sure.
That's too funny. We get a therapist and a publicist. There
and
you
a
go.
publicist.
And all right, so and what about one day if somebody says, "Yeah, I want to get an agent," with you being in the business, for the extent you have, like, what's a smart play for a young person? Saying, "Okay, I need an agent." What's a smart way to look for an agent?
Well, yeah, I always say now. I would say you got to have something to agent first, right? So, like, have some work. You got to have some work, because I would probably go the manager route first, because a manager will take you on. Part of their gig is to find you an agent when the time comes. Agents, first thing they'll ask a manager is, well, how much did they make last year? How many jobs did they book? Because it's a business. So an agent is strictly about business. They're just like a real estate agent or anything. They get 10%. So they want to know, how much are you bringing in? I would tell actors, try also to go the commercial agent route first, because commercial agents, it's all about a look. It's really not about, you don't have to have had 7 TV credits to get an agent. So go the commercial route, but also go the manager route, and just do all the student films, shoot your own stuff, get a reel together, have something to show an agent of work, a body of work, that shows you doing your craft, and just build from there. Just build, and it doesn't have to find somebody that believes in you. If they're just working out of their home office, they don't have to have some big name behind them, but somebody that really wants to push hard for you.
See, you made me curious now. So you say, build a reel. What's a good length for a reel?
Good question. I would say no more than 3. 2 would be even perfect. 2 minutes. 3 at the most. And if you're going to do just one reel, have a variety. Or, I mean, well, you know what? I used to say that. Now I'm really big about telling actors to find their lane, decide which lane they want to put themselves in. Is it going to be the best friend? Is it the bad guy? Is it, and put that on your reel. Like if you're saying, I'm going to play the best, leading lady or whatever, have these clips of yourself being the leading lady or being the bad guy, being the funny, the wacky, quirky sidekick guy. Don't confuse them. Just have 5 clips of you playing that character, and let them see that that's the lane you want to be in. I think the days are gone of actors wanting to play all different characters. That's what the stage is for. Theater, we can go and stretch a little more, but I think you want to really think of it from a business perspective of, how can I make the most money for myself and for my team?
Yeah, but be a team player, folks. You hear that? That's what I love. This dude is awesome. So when is the family business dropping again?
This Thursday,
Hey.
the 14th on BET Plus, which is BET's streaming service. And then generally what they do is, after it has aired for a while on BET Plus, they will put it on the regular BET, which most people get part of their, their normal cable
Gotcha.
package.
But if they go that route, they're going to have to wait on a weekly basis, episode per episode, because if they get the plus, right, they get all of them at one fell swoop.
All have dropped at one time. And I don't know how many CORY is. What we do is we the way they shoot the whole season almost like a movie, and then they edit it into the episodes. So I'm not sure where CORY is being dropped in at along the way. I can't really say episode 3 or 4. I don't know. So
we'll be on the lookout. No worries. Once we hear there's a badass motorcycle dude coming, like, all right, yo, we know who it is. We know who it is.
Watch. Go back and watch Family Business season 1 and 2 on BET as well. It's just, Carl Weber wrote. It's based on his book. It's just an amazing team of people. The cast is phenomenal. There's so many storylines in this. A lot of us don't interact. We don't intersect our storylines, but like a good nighttime drama, you have so many different stories going at the same time.
It's juicy. It's juicy.
Very juicy. Yeah.
I can't wait. See, all right, since you weren't the comic book fan, but you are a horror fan. So I'll ask it that way. If you could play any horror villain, any of all time, who would it be? Or what would it be?
That's interesting. Yeah. My mind immediately, but because I'm old school, I go back to Friday the 13th and Jason. You know what I mean? I go back to...
That's my boy too.
Freddy Krueger, the old school. That's probably... that would be more the iconic kind of guys. I also like the like When a Stranger Calls. I like that. I like the horror films that could actually happen. The kind of stuff that get out of the house, the guy's up, he's in the house, we trace the call kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I like that as well, where you're like, oh shit, this is real. So yeah, most of those iconic, they were in disguises, in a mask or something. So you're not really seeing the bad guys much. But I'm just, the good thing about being a guy in this business, and this is the sexism of the business, but as we get older, the cratchier looking we get, the more character we get, the more we work. So,
because you look like people that have been through it. I ain't gonna take no more crap, and that's what makes you the badasses you are.
do you remember Gunsmoke? We're going way back.
Oh yes, of course.
Someone actually told me the other day, "Hey, dude, you look like Festus on Gunsmoke." And I couldn't say thank you enough. All you kids out there, find Gunsmoke. Festus is sort of this just nasty, dirty, crazy character on Gunsmoke, but I loved him.
All right, you know what? Hey, listen, you never know if Westerns make a comeback, and if that's one of them that'll make a comeback, we will have our Festus, folks. All right, Netflix, Amazon.
I'm putting it out there. This is your Festus right here.
Yeah, man, get it done, yo. The fans want it. They have called it. Yo, brother, man, Jasper, you're awesome, bro. You've been an absolute pleasure, to talk to, man.
Thank
and
you, man.
Give a rundown. So just real quick, what can people get at jaspercole.com? What we getting there at that awesome website?
Oh, thank you, man. So jaspercole.com, it's an update of all the projects I'm doing. My one-on-one with Jasper Cole, there's a separate link that's got all the archive shows. My show is every Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific on Blog Talk Radio, but it's on iTunes and all the other platforms. But yeah, it's just sort of, you can contact me directly there. Cameo is there, all kinds of, I have a consulting service. I'll talk to you for an hour about your career. I charge a little fee, but yeah, everything's on there. You can and then also Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Jasper Cole Says. It's right here, SAYS.
Man, brother, you're awesome, and definitely congrats again. 10 years on with the podcast. That's amazing, man. Because again, people, podcast fly by night. 10 years is not fly by night. It's not a phase. The podcast is here to stay.
Thank you, man.
And your journey, amazing. Your acting journey, your writing, man. I hope to see you in a whole bunch of awesome stuff. I can't wait to see you as Mr. CORY Black. on the family business, dropping this week, folks. All right, and do the plus. That don't tease yourself. Don't wait for it. I mean, you can watch it on BET, no doubt, but don't tease yourself. Get them all. Get them all. All right.
Yeah,
this week.
we need all the viewers to make sure we get a 4th season.
Yeah. Let's make it happen. You listen. It's gonna, as soon as it drops, everybody's gonna eat it up so quickly. They're gonna see these massive downloads, or streams, and they're gonna be like, you know what? Here comes the next season. We're gonna keep going season upon season.
All right.
All right.
Well, Al, you're the best. Thank you. This has been amazing. Thank you for having me on the show. I told you in the beginning, I watch your show. I follow you.
I appreciate that.
It's been an honor to be on here today.
No, thank you for hanging out with me and just chit-chatting, talking, hanging out. Thank you, brother.
Shit. Thank you.
Yeah, brother. And with that, folks, the outro tells you what to do. I'm Mega. Hasta la próxima. Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit ComicCrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at UndercoverCapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.